McDonald's is often seen as a symbol of American culture, a place where families, kids, and late-night workers can grab a quick bite. But the story behind its rise to power is not as cheerful as the golden arches make it seem. Back in the 1940s, Richard and Maurice McDonald were just two brothers with a small hamburger stand in San Bernardino, California. They had a simple dream: serve food fast, cheap, and consistent. Their small stand wasn't fancy, but people loved how quickly they could get a meal. Little did they know, their modest operation would soon be taken over and transformed into a global empire that would change food culture forever. Enter Ray Kroc, a traveling milkshake machine salesman who stumbled upon the brothers' restaurant in 1954. At first, he was amazed by their efficient system of making food. Burgers, fries, and shakes were produced in assembly line fashion, almost like a factory. Kroc saw dollar signs everywhere. He convinced the McDonald brothers to let him franchise their model across America. While the brothers wanted to keep things small and manageable, Kroc had far bigger ambitions. He was aggressive, relentless, and hungry for more than just burgers. Slowly, he squeezed the brothers out, eventually buying the company and leaving them with almost nothing compared to what the brand would later earn. The story has often been told as one of vision and business genius, but many also see it as a tale of betrayal and greed. Once Kroc was in charge, McDonald's expanded rapidly. By the 1960s, golden arches were appearing across the United States. The company mastered the art of marketing to families, especially children. The introduction of Ronald McDonald in 1963 wasn't just about a clown mascot. It was a calculated move to connect the brand with fun, laughter, and childhood memories. Bright colors, playgrounds, and happy meals were designed to lock kids in as loyal customers from an early age. Parents might have thought they were treating their children to something harmless, but McDonald's was quietly shaping eating habits for generations. The Happy Clown was not just entertainment, it was advertising disguised as joy. Behind the scenes, however, there were darker realities. The food was cheap and tasty, but questions about quality and health began to grow. McDonald's focused on consistency, but that often meant relying on frozen ingredients, chemical preservatives, and questionable meat sources. Critics pointed out that the food was engineered to be addictive, loaded with salt, sugar, and fat. Nutritionists warned about obesity and heart disease. But McDonald's was more concerned with keeping prices low and profits high. The marketing was so strong that few people stopped to question what they were really eating. By the 1970s and 1980s, McDonald's had become a global powerhouse. But with that power came responsibility, and the company often failed to live up to it. Environmental groups accused the chain of contributing to deforestation, especially in South America, where rainforests were cleared to raise cattle for beef. Activists also raised alarms about the mountains of waste created by disposable packaging. While McDonald's made promises of sustainability, critics argued that these were more about public relations than real change. The smiling clown and golden arches were hiding a supply chain that damaged ecosystems and exploited cheap labor. One of the most powerful blows to McDonald's image came in the early 2000s with the release of the documentary Super Size Me. Filmmaker Morgan Spurlock ate nothing but McDonald's for 30 days, documenting the devastating effects on his health. He gained weight, his cholesterol spiked, and his energy plummeted. The film shocked audiences worldwide, forcing McDonald's to phase out its super size menu option and push salads as a healthier alternative. But many saw these changes as cosmetic. The core menu, burgers, fries, and shakes, remained the same. For millions of loyal customers, convenience still mattered more than health. The story of Ray Kroc and the McDonald brothers resurfaced in 2016 with the film The Founder, which painted Kroc as both a visionary and a ruthless businessman. Audiences were reminded how the McDonald brothers lost control of their own creation, reduced to footnotes in a story that made billions for someone else. For many, this was a reminder that the American dream is not always about hard work paying off. It can also be about bigger players swooping in and taking everything. Kroc turned McDonald's into a franchise empire, but at a moral cost that still sparks debate today. McDonald's also faced criticism for its labor practices. Fast food workers across America have long complained about low wages, poor benefits, and unsafe working conditions. In recent decades, the Fight for 15 movement highlighted the struggles of employees trying to survive on minimum wage, while corporate executives raked in millions. The Happy Clown and Bright commercials never showed the reality of the kitchens, where overworked staff flipped burgers for little pay. To many, McDonald's became a symbol of corporate greed wrapped in cheerful marketing. There is also the cultural impact to consider. McDonald's wasn't just selling food, it was exporting American culture worldwide. In Moscow, Beijing, Paris, and beyond, the Golden Arches became a symbol of globalization. Some welcomed it as progress, while others saw it as cultural invasion. Traditional diets and local restaurants struggled to compete with the cheap, efficient fast food model. Around the world, eating McDonald's became both a guilty pleasure and a political statement. The clown might have looked friendly, but he carried the weight of a global empire that reshaped how billions of people ate. Even the design of the restaurants carried a psychological purpose. The bright red and yellow colors were chosen carefully. They trigger hunger and excitement in the human brain. The music was upbeat, the lighting was warm, and the seating was just comfortable enough to keep you there, but not too long. Every detail was engineered for one purpose: move people in, feed them quickly, and make them come back again. Behind the smiles and fries, it was all about psychology and manipulation. This wasn't accidental. It was business science at work. Over the decades, McDonald's has tried to reinvent itself multiple times. From introducing salads to experimenting with plant-based burgers, the company continues to market itself as evolving with the times. Yet critics argue that the core business remains the same: fast, cheap, highly processed food, designed to maximize profit. The Happy Meal toys may change, the ads may look fresh, but the system Ray Kroc built is still intact. Efficiency above all, even if it means sacrificing quality, health, and honesty. Today, McDonald's stands as one of the most recognized brands on the planet, but the shadows of its past still linger. The betrayal of the McDonald brothers, the health controversies, the environmental impact, the labor disputes, all of these remain part of the story behind the Golden Arches. People may walk in for a quick burger without thinking twice, but the truth is that every bite carries decades of history, some of it uplifting, much of it unsettling. The empire built on fast food is also built on secrets that McDonald's would rather you forget. For many, the story of McDonald's is a cautionary tale. It's about how ambition can turn into greed, how marketing can shape generations, and how convenience can blind people to hidden costs. The Golden Arches shine brightly on every corner, but behind that glow lies a darker truth about business, culture, and human health. To understand McDonald's fully, you can't just look at the smiling clown. You have to look at the shadow it casts. And perhaps the biggest secret of all is that McDonald's isn't really in the food business. It's in the real estate business. Ray Kroc discovered early on that owning the land under the franchises was the true source of power and profit. Every new McDonald's location meant more rent money flowing back to headquarters. The burgers were almost secondary. The real genius was turning fast food into a global property empire. That, more than anything, explains why McDonald's is still standing strong today. No matter the scandals, documentaries, or criticisms, in the end, McDonald's is both an American dream and an American nightmare. It is a story of innovation, betrayal, success, and controversy. Millions still line up for Big Macs every day, often unaware of the complicated history behind the counter. The golden arches may promise happiness, but if you look closer, you'll see the darker side of fast food's most famous empire.